Welcome back. We're finishing up our 2005 fall season of the Blackhawk Report. One of our great reporters from East Lansing, Griffin Makrovich, is going to have a conversation about a little bit about fall because obviously we're getting ready for football. We'll take a couple of weeks off, but we're going to talk football. But just kind of wrap up briefly some of the stuff you were covering with soccer and cross country and some of those things.
Yeah, sure, Greg. So yeah, as you mentioned, we're wrapping up our fall sports over in Brandon. We didn't win many leagues this titles this year. We only won in soccer, which is the actually second time they won. They tied with Fenton for first place in the Flint Metro League. And Jacob Hilton, our cross country runner, who we've had on the show before, also got first team all league mention. That's the first time any Brandon student has done that since 2021 for cross country. So that's pretty good for them. I also spoke with Nick Schilling. We're getting into, as we get in this lull of fall sports, we're talking to some Brandon alumni, some former friends of mine, former classmates. We got Nick Schilling, who's a cross country runner over for Davenport University, who was setting records in Brandon and is now setting records over in Davenport at the D2 level. So that kid's finding success everywhere he's going. We'll talk to him later. After that, I spoke with Aiden Reynolds, childhood friend of mine. Me and Aiden grew up together, had a great time. Aiden was a star soccer player early on for Brandon ever since his freshman year, and then got recruited to Olivet because they were kind of having some a drought, so to speak, in the soccer area. They signed him on, and he's started 60 out of 64 games now for the Olivet Comets. So not that really having the best seasons there, but he's having a great time, and he's moving on to an insurance firm pretty soon in the summer. So we're going to see how he's doing after college coming up soon.
Should mention that Jason Rumble, the girls golf team, did not have the finish they were hoping for. They had a good, strong finish in the Metro League, but at regionals, they kind of stumbled a little bit. But he's also skiing. I should make sure that we're talking about golf. He also had three freshmen, I think, and a couple sophomores that were golfing. So I think good things are happening in the future. He did get the regional coach of the year and should be congratulated. Right after our conversation, we're going to spend a little time talking to Brad Zuby, who finishes the season at 5-4 with a big win over Pontiac High School. We would have had some film of that, but the Pontiac folks decided not to let us in to film it. That's another story for another day. But the interesting part of it, we thought with 5-4, especially winning the last game, that they would have made it to the playoffs. They started Thursday night with enough points to win, and by the time Friday night was over, they had a 55-14 win over Pontiac. Lake Fenton lost and moved ahead of them one spot in the playoffs. So they finish at 4-5. Brad is obviously hoping to have a chance to spend some time with his kids on Sunday with watching the television show, and then realized they weren't going to make the team. So certainly disappointed. We'll talk to him a little bit about that. I make mention is I'm not sure how you start. You beat Lake Fenton during the season, you win, they lose, and you get bumped from the tournament. But I would also mention in the same division, which is Division Three, a Catholic school team from Detroit, Warren De La Salle, with a 3-6 record, moved down from Division Two, where they'd won a couple state championships in the last 5 years, to the Division Three. Now, 6 of those losses are against Catholic Central and Brother Rice and Orchard Lake St. Mary. Very good football teams. But a team that makes it at 3-6 is a little wondrous, and you got to wonder from Brad's perspective if maybe some tweaks to the old playoff formula. And the guys that usually complain are the guys that don't get in. But that's a pretty hard evidence that basically fate was against you from the start because of the way the process is. We think if you win, you should move forward, but that wasn't the case.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with that. You go away Friday night with the bus ride thinking that you're going to come back and have a great Sunday and have another week of practice before you get a chance to meet somebody. In this case, probably playing Holly, team that they probably could beat and have beaten. Go to the second round, and it changes the season. So instead of being 5-4, maybe you get to 7-5, something like that. But you get to extend those couple more weeks. But it is what it is. You've been an athlete lately. How would that settle for you?
Oh man, I'd be feel like we got snuffed out, and for De La Salle to come in, this is their first season in the Division Three, and they get a spot in the playoffs, and we don't. And Lake Fenton, as you mentioned, loses, and they move up. I gotta understand. We have to take a deeper look into their point scoring system as to who gets to advance and who doesn't. If it's not based on wins alone.
Here's the other side. The formula has been tweaked 3 different times, and I'll use lacrosse because we both have an affinity for the lacrosse world. We seed with a formula, okay, for the tournament. And there's never a year we've done the sort of evaluated the algorithm or the formula, and we've done that 4 times in the last 10 in lacrosse. And every year, the team that doesn't get the opportunity whether it's geography for lacrosse or whether it's seeding, in this case, the opportunity to get into the tournament, it seems like there's always complaints every year. So I'm not sure you're ever going to get away from that because there's always going to be a group that feels like they're being mistreated, and there's always going to be a group that didn't think they were going to get in that got in. So I think maybe that's just the role of the play. Let me give you the other example. Every sport we now have has television monitors for referees. I don't have any problem with it, but you could make an argument that I'm against it because shouldn't players have to learn that referees make mistakes? Not everything can be perfect. If we did that, then every coach would be on a monitor for every decision that they make about what player they put in, right?
Right.
Sports should teach us more. What's your thoughts?
It's getting so competitive at a young age. I mean, we're getting televised broadcasts. Not only is Ordinal Television covering games, but I've been on assignment where I've had four other cameras also covering the same game that I'm doing. And these are high schoolers. So I'm wondering how much money we're putting into these programs, and are we instilling the fact that these kids have to be perfectionists, or are we still in the fact that they got to learn to not only be good sportsmen and deal with the coaches and the referees around them, like you're mentioning? We can't all be NFL level just yet, right? We're only in high school. So I,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of I can think we kind of blow it out of proportion when we're doing all these, live televised playback replays for the referees to look at. I think it gets a little excessive, especially at the high school level.
I don't disagree. Well, Brad's going to explain that all in a couple seconds, but for that to be the case, you've got a couple interviews later in the show that folks get a chance to see some older athletes from Brandon High School who have been very successful at the collegiate level. And we'll be back in a couple seconds. And also realize in a couple, 3 weeks, we'll start up with the winter. So basketball, wrestling, volleyball. What else am I missing? Cheerleading. And we'll cover some of those sports like we did this year. And you and I will figure out who to break up and who to talk to and figure out what we're going to cover. And we'll be back with Brad in a second, and we'll see you probably 3 weeks.
That's right, Greg. Take it easy.
Military families often sacrifice precious time away from loved ones while serving our country.
We were worried that with him leaving, that she would lose those connections with her dad.
Some of life's best moments happen between parents, children, and the pages of a good book. United Through Reading provides that connection. And now, United Through Reading is also available to veterans. Learn more about United Through Reading at unitedthroughreading.org.
Wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to the last version of the Blackhawk Report for the fall of 2025. We're having a conversation with our Brandon head coach, Brad Zuby, who's coming off a big win over Pontiac, but there's a sort of a silver lining and a good and a bad to this one. The good one is you ended up with a 5-4 record to have a winning season, and you kind of backed out of the playoffs because the people that backed in lost to a very good Divine Child team, and those are the Lake Fenton Blue Devils. And I guess the easiest question for you is it's sort of kind of a two-edged sword.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Lake Fenton Divine Child game was in week 2, right? So it wasn't even a week 9 situation. So, again, taking nothing away from Lake Fenton. They're a good football team. We beat them in a head-to-head game that was 29-28. The playoff formula is what it is. They had 43 playoff points at the end of the year, and we had 42.89. So it was incredibly close. There's optics to it when you look at a team that, you beat them, you finished 5-4, they finished 4-5, but, the formula has been set up that way. It is what it is. I think we played a playoff team in week 2, a Clare team, a Division 5 team that won 6 games. We played Goodrich the next week that's 9-0 and a state championship team. Owasso was a Division 3 playoff team. Lake Fenton's a playoff team. Clio finished 5-4. And, Flushing was a Division 2 team, twice our size with 4 wins. You plug all that into the formula, it's usually good enough. Those numbers we had at 42.89 would have probably got us in the last 3, 4, 5 years. Wasn't enough this year. It is what it is. We started the day in the playoffs, and we ended the night out of the playoffs, and we won our game. But that's the way it goes sometimes. When I woke up Friday morning, took one last look at all the scenarios, there was about 12 different variables that we were looking at. And if any one of those 12 or so variables would have went another way, we'd have been 32nd team and they'd have been the 33rd team or whatever. So, it's unfortunate that the season ended the way it did. This was my first time in 10 years at Brandon not being in the playoffs. So it's unfortunate, but you just gotta get better. There was a game week 7 against Owasso that, I think we let slip away a little bit. There was some stuff that didn't go our way officiating. And if we win that game, we're not having this discussion anyway. So you can't leave it up to the formula, just like you can't leave it up to referees and kickers. So it is what it is.
In a world of participation where everybody gets a trophy, isn't one of the tenets of learning and playing a high school sport in this interscholastic sport, isn't that disappointment a good lesson to learn just as part of that lesson too?
Sure, I mean, we would have rather learned it week 10 or 11, but you learn it week 9, right? But and it's one of those things that we've kind of preached to our kids this year because we had such a small roster and the depth wasn't there that, one of the things we really preached to our kids this year was that the margin of error was razor thin with this team. And there were things that you could not let slip away. And if they slipped away, you were going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit. And it just kind of caught up to us. We had a bad week 7. We had a bad week 8 after playing 3 really good football games in a row. So I'm really proud of our kids, though. They battled all year. They overcame a lot of stuff, a lot of adversity, fought through a lot of things, finished the season with a winning record and, a fraction of a point out of the playoffs. So nothing to hang our hats on.
Is enrollment in Brandon, is it staying stable over the next 2 or 3 years? And then the follow-up question, my point is, if you're close to that 600 mark and you continue to lose, can you feel the competitive program in the league you're playing?
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. I pulled up a screenshot. I'll send it to you, but I pulled up a screenshot of our last 10 years. And, in 2016, there's almost 1,100 kids in our building. Now there's barely 600. And I think next year we're going to be around 599. And it's just harder and harder to get kids to play football. And, I mentioned this, when we were talking before, but at the beginning of the year, we had about 12 kids this year who would have been football players who played in the past that just didn't play football this year. And we had conversations with all those kids and it was like, no, we enjoy football and we enjoy you, coach, and the coaching staff and our buddies. But we just have other things that we want to focus on, whether it's their free time or another sport, or they didn't want to put the time in during the summer. But at a school our size, 12 kids not playing football is probably the difference between being us 7-2 or 8-1 this year. So it is what it is.
Making the playoffs also gives you more practice time for those kids who may not have had that opportunity. So there's some other intangible losses that you have to look at as part of being missing the playoffs. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I mean, any football is good football. It's a week of growth. It's looking at new kids up from the JVs, putting kids on your scout team, getting a look at them. And, we kind of, with that new 5th quarter rule, we kind of do a little bit more of that anyways. We kind of had a group of kids with us practicing for a good part of the year that we think will help us next year. And those kids got bright futures. So, but yeah, any extra football is good football.
When do you stop laying in bed at night, sleeping, thinking about things that could have been?
Greg, there are plays from 15 years ago that wake me up in the middle of the night. So you know how we're wired, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think of a 2009 state championship when I was up 7-2 and they tied it. We went to overtime twice and I made a goalie change between the first and the second overtime.
Yeah.
The second shot in overtime, we lost the state championship, but I still see it in the dream. I get it.
Oh yeah. When we're wired the way we are, man, the wins, you put the wins away pretty quick. It's the losses that stick with you, but that's what makes you work harder. That's what makes you get up in a cold sweat thinking of a play you could have called different or a way you could have managed the clock different. And you wake up and you take those notes and you run with them.
Well, listen, you obviously had a winning season at 5-4. Like I said, you got inched out a little bit, but success on all the levels. We'll come back and sort of when we get to our first part of. In a couple of weeks, when we start to do winter, we'll do the wrap up of the all league and some of those kinds of things. But
yeah, sure.
We appreciate you being with us for the season. We'll pick up the Blackhawk Report for winter, but this has been a real staple, and I think hopefully people have learned a little bit about the game, a little bit about the program. So appreciate your time.
Yeah, again, big thanks to our whole community. This is a great community to coach in, to work in, to teach in. We got tough kids in Brandon. We love the group of kids we had this year. The kids that stuck around and put the time in, they were outstanding, and nothing but love for all those guys. We're going to miss our seniors.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome back to the Blackhawk Report. As we're in our lull in the sports for the fall, we're joined by a few Brennan alumni. Today we got Nicholas Schilling, currently a Davenport University Panther. Nick, you're competing as a track and field runner and a cross-country runner. How you doing, man? It's good to see you.
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you too. We're in the thick of cross-country season right now. I got GLIACs coming up and then regionals in 3 weeks, so gearing up for that season. But
yeah, no, I saw that you guys are currently in your cross country. And are you playing as a red shirt right now, or are you listed as a full player for this season, full competitor?
I redshirted my freshman year of cross country, so technically right now I'm in my junior year of college, but it's my sophomore year of cross country. So, but I'm fully competing this year.
Yeah, just good. I just wanted to clear that up because I saw that it was a marking as red shirt for your stats online.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as we mentioned, Nick, you're a former runner for Wes Diener, who is our current cross country and track and field coach at Brandon Blackhawks. And you grew up running sports. You grew up running in track all around Ortonville. How was Ortonville to kind of grow up and train your running early on? Was that a good place to train?
Yeah. The nice thing about it is there's a lot of dirt roads. I haven't gotten a whole lot of that around there, but yeah, when I was working with Coach Don, he really just kind of taught me a lot about hard work, and I feel like that's translated a lot to getting to college and just mindset stuff. So I feel
What
like
was that process like when you were a senior in Brandon? What was that process like, kind of picking which college you were going to? Did you know you were going to go to Davenport? Did they reach out to you, or explain that situation?
So coming off of my junior year, because I committed in the middle of cross country my senior year, I originally was thinking about going into the military. Like, I didn't know if college was for me, but I started getting attention from colleges in terms of recruiting. And Davenport reached out to me, and that was a school I was kind of looking at as just like a normal school option. I liked their business program that they had and everything they had to offer. So when they offered me a scholarship, I kind of just jumped on the opportunity and signed there during cross country my senior year. So I'm glad I did.
There you go. Yeah, so college wasn't on your radar at all then prior to cross country. That was the case?
Yeah, kind of. I was thinking about going into the Marines, but once I realized I had the opportunity to keep competing, I couldn't pass that up. So
now you're fighting the academic battle with the rest of us. So thank you, Nick. But yeah. So anyways, you went to Davenport and you've had great success there. I mean, last year you got a record, 2024, you got the 800-meter sprint record, and now 2025, last season for track, you got the 1500-meter record. Tell me a little bit about those performances. What's it like to kind of be the new guy showing up and making school history?
Yeah, it was a really great experience. I don't know if you've looked, but I actually have the 800 and mile indoors too. So I got those my freshman year, and my freshman year was kind of just like, it was a perfect season for me. Everything went right with training, and there's great competition in the GLIAC. There's a lot of guys that were around my skill level and kind of pushed me to be better. And I think the highlight of that was making nationals my freshman year in the 800. I did it and ran the record at Lee University at a last chance meet, which was quite literally the last chance to qualify for nationals. And I ran a 3-second PR to qualify. And so just going through that whole experience was awesome. And I've been very grateful to see a lot of development in the mile too, because in the high school that wasn't really my thing, but it's developed a lot throughout college too. So
that's great to hear. You're having so much success in track and field. Now, was track and field your main sport, or was it cross country? Are you more of a distance runner, or are you more of these medium sprints?
I'd say I'm definitely more of a middle distance guy, because in high school cross country I was nearly as good as I was in the 800, and in college we bump up from running a 5K to an 8K, in our regular season races and a 10K in our championship. So it's pretty far removed from my half-mile race that I'm more accustomed to. So I'd say I'm definitely better off on the track than I am on the grass, but I
And
like
there's
the
100
team
more guys
aspect.
in these competitions, right? I mean, in Brandon, you were having maybe 140, 150 max in your cross country competitions. Now I'm seeing people placing 300 overall. Even more sometimes. What's that like to have the crowd tripled in size?
It's kind of surreal. Like last week we or maybe 2 weeks ago, we had a Lewis crossover invitational where like you said, there's like 400 guys racing that. And it's a wild experience just being completely surrounded by guys from the very start. But it's pretty awesome because you don't get that on the track. You get in the 800, you get maybe 12 people a mile, you might see 15. So it's kind of wildly different, but it's really
And
cool.
do you kind of hold the same mentalities when you're going into a track meet versus when you're competing in a cross country exhibition, or is it totally different kind of thought processes? Tell me a little bit about that.
Um, to be honest, in track, there's a lot more strategy just in terms of how small the races are and positioning. But I kind of attack them the same way, as in I know the race is going to be hard and just accepting that and being ready for it and being ready for anything to happen in the race because a lot can happen. But I'd say I attack them pretty similarly.
And what have been some of your favorite moments so far? I know you're entering your junior year. This is technically your sophomore year competing, but you've competed for 3 years now, technically. What's that like? I'm sure you've had some great moments, maybe some bad moments. Share those with us.
Yeah, like I said earlier, my proudest moment was qualifying for nationals, running 148 in the 800 my freshman year, and then that whole experience. I didn't make it through to the final, but I landed second team All-American there, and doing that as a freshman was just it was so awesome being there and watching awesome guys. I think the guy that won it that year, he ended up running at U.S. Olympic trials. Like,
Wow.
yeah, the
So that
competition.
was serious competition.
Yeah, it was serious competition. The environment was awesome. And then last year it was a little bit more of a struggle for me. Like you said, I did run the 1500-meter school record, but that was about the highlight of my season. I kind of struggled through injuries throughout indoor season, but I feel like going through that kind of just reinforces who you are as an athlete. Like it's not always going to be the highs. There's going to be lows too, but just working through it and keeping the mentality and the discipline all the same.
Right. And speaking of injuries, sorry you got injured last year, but you and I, we're really tall guys. You're even taller than me. You're 6'5". What's that like being, a gigantic runner? I'm sure. What, are the other runners as tall as you, or is the ideal runner kind of a smaller person? Or tell me a little bit about that. I don't really know the world of running as much as I do basketball.
Yeah. I'd say when it comes to cross country, I'm just about the tallest person you'll see out on the course. That gets dominated a lot more by guys that are around that 6 foot or shorter standpoint. Just because I'm a bigger guy, it's harder for me to go the distance. But 800, you definitely do see a lot more taller guys, just because it's easier to keep up a high speed at a taller frame. That's true all the way down to the 100. Like some of the best 100, 200-meter runners in the world, like Usain Bolt, they're really tall guys that can hold their speed a lot better. So when I'm competing, I feel like I'm running against guys that are pretty similar build to me on the track.
Good. That's good to hear, man. Well, I just wanted to know because I know, you're a tall guy and running distance running, especially, that's got to be pretty hard in your body. Are you dealing with constant injuries, or are you managing that in some way, or what's going on with that?
There's a lot of like having to manage load, especially because I am heavier for cross country. I have a lot more force going through my legs. I can't run the same miles that some of my teammates are running, but yeah, there's always like something that you're managing and working through because if there isn't, you're just not training enough. But there's a really fine line of like walking the tightrope with am I training too much? Are the injuries like starting to affect that, or am I not training enough? I'm not getting the benefit out of my training. So there's a tightrope, and Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's good to hear that you're managing that because you still got 2 years ahead left in your competitive career, at least for running.
Hmm.
So, I mean, we got all that out of the way. Up next, it looks like you guys got Oh well, I don't actually have it. Well, what do you guys got next? Actually, what's your next event that's coming up?
Yeah, this upcoming weekend we have our GLIAC championships. We're hosting it as a team. But we don't have a cross country course, so we're actually running it at Calvin University, which I'm really excited because I've ran there twice now and I like the course. I feel confident on it. So I'm feeling good going into it. But um it's gonna be hard for us to compete against some of the teams that are there.
Right.
Teams like Grand Valley is ranked number 2 or number 4 in the country right now on the men's side. And Saginaw Valley is also in the top 10. So there's going to be really good competition. It's just probably the smallest race we run all year is our GLIAC Conference Championship.
Yeah, but
So
definitely the most competitive for sure. And then right after that, you guys have the NCAA. Is that the qualifiers or what's that right after that?
it's the regional meet. So that will be 2 weeks after. That's going to be in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And that race gets bumped up from an 8K to a 10K. So that's always a little jolting, but that's going to be another pretty big race because it's split up regionally. So like the whole Midwest is going to be there for that one.
And
And
then you'll have
that's
some
another,
time after that ends. You'll have track and field that's starting in December, correct?
yeah, but us distance guys, we don't usually race in December because cross country is a brutal season. We train all summer for it, so we usually take like a week down and then kind of ease back into it. Especially me going from cross country training to 800 training and anchoring the 4x4. Like there's a big switch up in my training that takes a few weeks to get readjusted to.
It can be very harsh on your
So,
body, I'm sure.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so when are you expecting to be joining the cross or the track and field team then? If you're not going to be joining in December?
Well, there's only 2 meets in December that we missed before Christmas break, and then just about as soon as we get back, maybe that first, second week of January is when indoor season really starts ramping up. So that's when I'm expecting to get back on the track. So
Perfect. Well,
yeah,
Nick, well, thank you for joining us, man. So thank you so much for joining us on the Blackhawk Report. We're excited to see what you got going on in Davenport. We'll definitely join you once you wrap up cross country season and you start moving into track. We'll definitely have to catch up again and see how you're doing over there. But thanks again for joining us, man, and you have a great rest of your season.
yeah, I appreciate it. Take care.
I'm joined today by Aiden Reynolds, a former Brandon Blackhawk and current midfielder for the Olivet Comets over in Olivet, Michigan. Aiden, thanks for joining us today. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you, man. It's been a minute. This is awesome.
Yeah, it has been a while, certainly. Speaking of which, you and I, Aiden, we grew up together. You were playing for Sean Lovelace over in high school, and he sent me a really nice message, actually, kind of describing you as a player for him. So I wanted to read that if you wouldn't mind, real quick, just so
Oh,
everyone can get an
yeah.
idea of what kind of player you are.
Love
So
Sean.
he said, yeah, Sean's awesome. He said AJ came to the varsity squad as a freshman, and of course was small and reserved. He was a good, skilled club player and learned the work ethic and grit quickly from the high school big dogs. He grew into a strong, determined captain, always putting the team before himself. He always did the work, never made excuses, and he always listened to me. Sean, of course. AJ was a pleasure to coach, and I can't wait to watch him on Wednesday. What do you think about playing for Sean? You were playing varsity as a freshman. Tell me about that in Ortonville.
I mean, yeah, obviously I was really small. I'm 6 foot now. I was probably
Yeah,
like
it's changed now. You've grown a lot,
yeah.
certainly.
I was probably like 5'3". I was a real skinny kid. But I was just Obviously I'd competed at really high levels for my age group, so it was just a big jump. Obviously, everybody's bigger than me, everybody's faster than me, but I just kind of learned to adapt quickly, and I had a really good like senior class surrounding me, and that just made it a whole lot easier on me. And I just went out there and really tried my best for those guys. They meant a lot to me at the time, and still do to this day. I'm still keeping contact with them.
That's awesome. Talk to me about some of your favorite moments from high school. Was it becoming a captain? Was it winning districts for the first time? Tell me about that.
We never won districts. We
Oh,
lost. We made districts 3 times for my 4 year span there, and we lost in the finals every time. So was never able to get that district championship. But they did it last year,
yeah,
which
I
was awesome.
just
That
talked
was
to them.
like the
Yeah, that was
first time
awesome for
since
them.
yeah, since like 2015. So that was awesome. But I mean, man, those are like all my high school best friends, and just playing with them, it was just so much fun. I mean, obviously, like Caden, Herbie, Grant, Ben Quirio, Ben Griska, Ian Burke, just to name a few guys. I mean, so much fun, man. I still miss it to this day. I'm a senior in college now. Wish I could go back in time and play with those guys again, but it was so much fun, man. Scoring all those goals, celebrating with all those guys, just hyping people up. Sean was a huge player in my high school career. I mean, the guy believed in me since I was a freshman. That was huge for me, and I've just learned so many different things, even since then. But high school was awesome, man.
And you weren't just a soccer player. I played basketball with you. I know you played baseball as well. You tried your hand at a few other things. You were great at lacrosse. What made you really stick to soccer? Why soccer? Because I know your dad was a wrestler actually. I think when he
Yeah,
was competing at the Olympic level for wrestling.
he did.
Why did you become a soccer player?
I mean, I played it since, I mean, I couldn't really tell you. I still can't remember when I was 4 years old, but I played it since I was 4 years old, and that's just kind of what I stuck to, man. Obviously, I played baseball with you, Parks and Rec baseball, played lacrosse, and I mean, to be honest, I really don't know why I stuck with it. It's just a huge passion for me. I loved it, so just stuck with it, and obviously, I loved it so much that I played it 4 more years in college.
Yeah. Speaking of college, was Olivet your first choice, or what was the recruiting process for you out of Brandon like?
I had gotten a few different offers, a few different looks from some different schools, but really like the big selling point for me here was that they were not very good. And obviously we'll get into that here soon, but um I just wanted to make the program better. I wanted to set a higher standard. And not only that, there's so much that has came from just being at the school, not just soccer. I've made some of my best friends, guys that are going to be in my wedding. It's been an awesome experience. And obviously, soccer's been fun. I've had a few different memories that are going to stick with me for the rest of my life. But coming here was, I would never regret not coming here. Um, it's been fun, man.
And tell me about that first season. So you said that they were kind of struggling as a program. That's why they contacted you. You've played now 64 games in your career and counting. You've started 60 of those games. So you've been an asset to the team as soon as you touched down in freshman year. Describe to me your freshman year. What was that like kind of navigating college for the first time?
I mean, obviously, I'm a freshman coming in. I'm like trying to figure everything out. But it was, I mean, there was a lot of ups and downs still as my senior year. But just I don't know. It was kind of hard adapting at first. There were some guys I was like, I don't really know like if I like you or not. But I got to, I don't know, I just got into it. And it's been fun like ever since. I freshman year is kind of a blur to me, but we made the tournament as a 60 my freshman year. And there were just some games where we really struggled in, um, and still obviously have now, but it still is kind of it's just like a blur to me still really, but it was
But
I've
how's it
learned a
been for
lot
you?
since then.
You've always been a field general as a player, even in basketball. You've always been a guard. Always surveying who to pass to next, kind of calling the shots in the field. Is
Yeah.
that kind of the role that you're serving right now for Olivet
Yeah, so
as a
I play
midfielder?
like a center defensive midfield role. So I'm the guy that kind of sprays the ball out wide, gets the ball to the striker, kind of navigates the game for us. I kind of keep us in control. Yeah, that's what I did in like lacrosse and whatnot. That's kind of my job, and it still is my job to stay, and I love it.
Yeah, and you're used to all throughout your high school career. At least when I was playing with you and recording you as a OTB member early on, you've been scoring tons of goals ever since I knew you. Whether it was lacrosse or soccer, what was that like to finally score your first goal in college last year after 2 years of a hiatus?
I mean, it was awesome. Obviously, scoring the goal, there's no better feeling than scoring a goal in any sport. But yeah, man, I just broke the deadlock. I hadn't scored in so long. And coming from like a high school aspect where I'm scoring a ton of goals, I'm making plays for my teammates. And then coming to college level, you got to realize that you're not like that big superstar anymore. You know, you got to adapt to your role. And that's kind of what I did. And eventually I broke the deadlock and no better feeling. Like I said, it was awesome to score my first goal.
Tell me about the competition you've been facing up against now that you're in college.
Yeah, so obviously bigger, faster, strong. I mean, and I'm a senior now, so I'm kind of looking back to like my freshman year and kind of thinking of like I never thought I would kind of be the big man that I am now because freshman year I'm like all these guys are so big, they're so strong. Um, but yeah, man, I've just been I don't know, I've just been trying to I'm still adapting even like as a senior. It's still so high level and even like there's kids now that are coming in like internationally now into the college level, NCAA level, and there's a lot of really good players, man. I mean, kids are coming in from we played Western Michigan last year, which was a really cool game to play in. Obviously, they're a Division I school, but there's like these German kids from Portugal. I mean, they're just a completely different level, man.
Playing Mr. Worldwide teams over here at
Yeah,
D2.
literally.
Right.
It's
I
like,
get
yeah,
that. I get that. It's definitely a big jump. Well, you guys just came off a 2-0 loss to Albion, it looks like a couple days ago. That's why we couldn't talk earlier.
yeah.
What was that? What was that like? I mean, tell me about how the games have been going for you this season.
I mean, obviously a lot of ups and downs, more downs than ups. But we've been in every game, man, and this is how it was last year too. Um, we've really struggled to score, like bottom line. That's really it. And the position that I play in, obviously I don't score a ton of goals, but strikers don't want to like put them down or anything, but they've just been struggling
Sure.
to find the back of the net. And um it's really just been the big problem for us. We're really solid defensively. Last year, we didn't let in more than 2 goals in any game,
Wow.
and we still didn't have a great record, man. So bottom line is finishing the ball is our biggest problem right now. But we have a big chance on Wednesday to go and change our season completely, flip it upside down.
That's right. Wednesday is you're playing against Alma. That's your senior night game, right?
It is. It is. It'll be a special moment for me and my family. I'll definitely probably tear up a little bit, especially if we don't get the result. But even just walking down that field for my last time, I'm just gonna try to take it all in as best as I can.
Yeah, you mentioned this could be your last time, right? This could be the last game of your career. Are you not thinking about playing club or any soccer after this, or what?
No, I haven't really made that decision quite yet. Obviously, I've played summer ball the last 3 years for a club called Troy United, and that's a lot of fun. I play with kids across all levels. I'm really competitive, but I still haven't made my mind up about that yet if I want to go into that. Obviously, I love soccer, but um, I'm getting old. I got to focus on my career. Um,
Which is going to be in somewhere in insurance, right? I know we mentioned that you had an internship last summer with Brown and Brown Insurance. Tell me
I
about that.
did.
What are you going? What are you going into?
Yeah, so internship was great. Everybody there is super young. There was even an Olivet alumni that worked there, and there's a guy from Hope, so I got a couple connections there. We kind of tease each other a little bit. Um, but yeah, man, they're super young, and they ended up offering me full time. So I'm very fortunate for that, very blessed. And I'll be a property and casualty producer for them when I graduate in the springtime. So I'm really looking forward to that. That is
Well,
going to be awesome.
congratulations, man! You got a full secure job already. Congratulations for that. It's awesome
Yeah,
to hear.
thank you, Griff. Appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
of course, man. Hey, thank you so much, Aiden, for joining us for possibly the last time of your soccer career. It's a very special moment for you to be joining us. Really full circle for me. You know, you grew up with me. We went on vacation together. Now we're here talking to each other. That's awesome. Good
Yeah,
luck
man.
against your senior night and against Alma on Wednesday. And we look forward to hearing what happened after that.
Thank you, Griff. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Of
Great
course,
talking to
man.
you.
Military families often sacrifice precious time away from loved ones while serving our country. United Through Reading provides meaningful connection, so the magic of reading isn't something that happens once upon a time. To learn more, visit unitedthroughreading.org.
When the world's endangered animals need help most, when their lives are at greatest risk, when they would otherwise be lost, the International Fund for Animal Welfare is there, taking action to rescue the animals we love, to protect them and their threatened natural habitats. But the danger to animals the world over is growing, and the need for your help has never been more urgent. On land, you'll help stop poachers from threatening and killing elephants and big cats for the illegal wildlife trade. In the oceans, you'll help rescue dolphins, whales, and seals from deadly hazards. And you'll help rescue, rehabilitate, and release vulnerable animals when disasters strike. Here at home and around the world, we can't do this work without you. See how you can help animals and people thrive together at joinifall.org.